By far, the most difficult lesson that I've had to learn in business was one that had to deal with managing other people. Marketing lessons, those are kind of easy, right? The hard lessons are the one that have to deal with actual human beings and how you interact with them. This is one of those things that the first time I actually had to do it, that I had to execute on this lesson, I absolutely dragged my feet. And most business owners and law firm owners can say the same thing. And funny enough, it was a lesson taught to me so early on. It's one of those things that you hear very early on when you're getting your business education. And I heard it first from Dan Kennedy and from Ben Glass. And when you're, a young pup in all of this, you kind of want to believe that it's not entirely true, that maybe you can protect against it, you can hedge against it somehow. And then it collides with reality. So what was the lesson, right? The lesson was the people who get you here are not the same people who get you there. That's a tough pill to swallow, because most of the time when you're talking about human beings, you want to believe that others are capable of growing with you. Not that there's going to come a point when, not to use too crude an adage, but the horse goes lame, right? But it happens. And it's because people get adjusted to their status quo. And particularly if you've had a law firm where you've been doing the same amount of revenue for a while, everything has kind of felt the same for a while. And now you as the entrepreneur get that spark of, I want to build something bigger, I want to build something bolder, I want more impact. But if you've had team members for a long time, they may just be accustomed to what you currently do. And they may, quite frankly, not want to do much more than what you currently do. Because for them, there's an interesting risk category. It's really cool. Jay Henderson of Real Talent Hiring in his hiring profile has this risk category. It's a fear, not just of failure, but there are also people who fear success. And what fearing success is fearing oftentimes the work that will have to be done in order to get to that next level. But even more importantly, fear of how your life may be changed. And if your status quo is good, then you may not want to, say, work harder or take on new responsibilities. And if your team members don't want to do that, they will find subtle ways to influence your practice and not allow it to grow. They will have small but significant objections. They will push back against you. And you won't necessarily know that it's not growing until you're looking around and you're doing so many other things the right way, but the business itself, the practice itself isn't moving. A lot of times, especially in firms that do 6 figures per year where you have 3 to 5 team members, it's really easy to get caught in this trap, because what you do is you build a work family, you have familial relationships, and you don't want to believe that that family member goes lame. Now, of course, it's a false familial relationship. It's a substitute for your actual family. But if you're spending 8 hours a day with these people, it's nice to feel close to them. But what you have to understand is that person is not necessarily going to be the person who takes it to the next level with you. And that person would probably benefit from having their own chance to find a new opportunity. And, I remember the first time having to have these conversations with people. They are never fun the first times that you do them. It's once you go through a couple of them and you realize how beneficial it is to both them and to you that you relax and you start to enjoy the upgrade cycle of your talent. You start to enjoy the fact that you will launch people out into the world for them to find the next place where they can thrive. And that's really what you're doing with team members, that you have to say, bye-bye to them. You are putting them back out into the world for them to find a way to thrive. And the conversation goes a little something like this. This is what happens a lot of times is you have someone who's, your receptionist, your intake specialist, your paralegal, and even does some admin assistant roles. And as you grow, you kind of have to say to that person, like, intake's a real priority. You're really good at it. I'd like to have you be a full-time intake specialist for us. And they don't really let go of the other stuff. They don't let go of being the paralegal. They're constantly judging the work of the other paralegals. They're coming to you all the time saying, just put me back into that position, coach. Come on, put me back into that position. That's where I want to be. And unfortunately, that mentality is destructive over the long run, because they're not focused on being as great as possible in their core responsibility. And so the conversation goes a little something like this. The job that I have open is the intake specialist. It seems like it's a job you would do very well, but I don't know if it's a job that you want. I want you to know that you have my full permission, support to go and find a position that would excite you, that would thrill you, because I don't think that this is going to be the long-term fit for us. And let them launch out into the world, right? Let them go out there and find something that works for them. And when I have that conversation, people always give me at least 2 weeks notice. I get 3 or 4 weeks notice even. I had someone who gave me even more extensive notice than that. It was like 2 months notice. And so I had plenty of time to bring on new team members to replace them. Now, we also operate with the ABH, always be hiring mindset. So we're always thinking about, okay, how can I hire the next upgrading talent? But this is how I have great relationships with people going out the door. I swear that any team member who has left our team within the last 7 years, if I texted them today with a question about some legacy feature, I know for a fact that they would gladly give me the information. They would hop on the phone with me to walk me through something, that we could go out and grab lunch, even though they were ultimately dismissed from the business. Because we also preach early on the idea of, look, as this business grows, there will be brand new opportunities, things will shift and everything. And I look forward to having people find their next big opportunity here. But understand that if it's not here, you can find, we're excited when we launch people out into the world. Ben has launched a lot of people out into the world very successfully. And we take it as a point of pride that we do that. So it's a tough lesson to learn, to come to that reality of not everyone is ready for the next leg of the journey. And you do have to turn over talent in your business. You know, you're the one thing that can't change. So we have to change other people around you at times, bring people up to your level, or even people who are past your level. So that way you think bigger, you produce bigger, etc. But that was the most difficult lesson I've had to learn in business, is the people who got me here are not the people necessarily who get me there. And it's actually true in a lot of aspects of your life, but that's probably time for another video in the future.